everyone, my name is Maria. I will explain 2 points about the principles of critical discourse analysis and doing critical discourse analysis. Critical discourse analysis examines the relationship between language use and social and political context, examining issues like gender, ethnicity, cultural difference, ideology, and also identity. It involves detailed textual analysis, explanation, interpretation, and deconstruction and challenge. The first point is principles of critical discourse analysis. Fairclough and Wodak in 1997 described a number of principles for critical discourse analysis which underlie many of the study done in this area. These include social and political issues are constructed and reflected in discourse, power relations are negotiated and performed through discourse, discourse both reflects and reproduces social relations, and ideologies are produced and reflected the use of discourse. The first principle is social and political issues that are constructed and reflected in discourse. An example of this principle is Theo's study in 2005 of slogan for Singapore's Speak Mandarin campaign. The campaign aims to connect Chinese Singaporeans with Chinese cultural traditions and counter the negative effects of westernization, despite only a small percentage speaking Mandarin at the launch. The campaign aims to attract foreign investment, particularly from China, by promoting Mandarin as a cultural, social, and economic value for Singapore's people. Second principle is that power relations are both negotiated and performed through discourse. In the employer-employee relations, for example, to establishing power, employers may use formal language and titles to establish authority in the workplace. They might say, I expect you to complete this task by Friday. Meanwhile, to challenging power, employees might negotiate for a better working conditions by using collective language and request by saying, we feel that a pay raise is warranted given our hard work. And then another example, in the term of political debates, to establishing power, political leaders often use assertive language to convey authority and decisiveness. They will say, I will ensure our country's security. But the challenging power, opposition politicians may employ critical and confrontational language to challenge the government's policies by saying, your policies are failing our citizens. The next principle is that discourse not only reflects social relations but is also a part of and reproduces social relations. In many societies, traditional gender roles have long been established, with men and women often assigned certain roles, behaviors, and expectations. Language plays a significant role in reflecting and reproducing these gender relations. In everyday discourse, you might hear statements like, boys don't cry, they're tough, which reflects the traditional expectation that men should be stoic and not show emotion. Consistent use and reinforcement of gender statements perpetuate societal expectations, and this is also affecting behavior and understanding. Language reflects gender roles, echoing stereotypes and influencing young people's understanding, highlighting discourse power in maintaining social structures. And another key principle is that ideologies are produced and reflected in the use of discourse. Ideologies represent sets of beliefs, values, and principles that shape the way individuals and societies they perceive the world. For example, in the nationalism and political discourse. Nationalism is an ideology that emphasizes the identity and interests of one's nation. It is produced through language that highlights its cultural, political, and economic superiority. This ideology is reflected in the policies like protectionist trade measures and restrictive immigration policies. Discourse play a crucial role in both producing and reflecting nationalism, shaping people's perception of their nation's role and also influencing policy decisions. Ideologies are not only reflected in discourse but also actively produced and maintained through language use. The second point is doing critical discourse analysis. According to Rogers in 2004, critical discourse analysis includes not only a description and interpretation of discourse in context, but also offers explanation of why and how discourses work. Critical analysis determines the text genre, conformity, and the producer's deviation from norms to create a specific effect. The analysis may consider the framing of the text, that is, how the content of the text is presented, and the sort of angle or perspective the writer or speaker is taking. Closely related to framing is the notion of foregrounding, that is, head concepts and issues are emphasized, as well as what concepts and issues are played down or backgrounded in the text. Equally important to the analysis are the background knowledge, assumptions, attitudes, and the points of view that the text presupposes. At the sentence level, the analyst might consider what has been topicalized in each of the sentences in the text. That is, what has been put at the front of each sentence to indicate what it is about. The analysis may also consider who is doing what to whom, that is, agent-patient relations, in the discourse. It may also consider what agents have been left out of sentences, such as when the passive voice is used or why this has been done. Meanwhile, the word and phrase level considerations include connotations, text formality, technicality, and intended audience. Word choices express certainty and attitude, and the intended audience may not share the view expressed. Critical discourse analysis focuses on understanding text beyond description, providing explanations for their purpose and relationship with society. It is explored the formation, reinforcement, and reproduction of ideologies through discourse, challenging hidden social, cultural, and political ideologies and values within text. The next part will be explained by my partner.
Hi everyone, my name is Chantika Putri. Now I would like to continue the materials about critical discourse analysis and genre, and then critical discourse analysis and framing. First of all, I would like to explain about critical discourse analysis and genre. What is that? As you can see here, analysis or CDA, critical discourse analysis, is an interdisciplinary approach to the study of discourse that focuses on power relation, social cultures, and the ways in which language is used to construct social reality. It aims to uncover hidden ideologies and power dynamic within text and discourse practice. While genre, it refers to a category of literary composition characterized by a particular style, form, or content. In the context of CDA or critical discourse analysis, genre analysis focuses on the convention and pattern within different types of text, allowing for the examination of how language is used to convey specific meanings and ideologies within different social contexts. By analyzing genre, CDA scholars can uncover how language is used to reinforce or challenge dominant social norms and power structure. Here it is. As you can see, there are various types of critical discourse analysis that scholars use to investigate and understand language and discourse. First, socio-cognitive approach. It focuses on cognitive process and social factors in the production and interpretation of discourse. And the second one is multimodal discourse analysis. It considers not only written or spoken language, but also other modes of communication such as image, gesture, and symbol. Then next, feminist critical discourse analysis. It examines how gender ideologies and power relations are reproduced and challenged through language use. Then next is post-colonial discourse analysis. It analyzed how colonial power dynamics are reflected and maintained through discourse. Regarding genre analysis, there are some types, including: first, textual genre analysis. It focuses on the structure and language features of specific text types like narrative, arguments, or new articles. And then next is functional genre analysis. It investigates how genres serve specific communicative purposes within social contexts. Then socio-rhetorical genre analysis. It emphasizes the social and cultural context of genre and their rhetorical function in communication. And then critical genre analysis. It examines how genre reflect and perpetuate power structure and ideologies within society. This approach helps researchers uncover underlying ideologies and power dynamics embedded within language and communication practice. Next, I would like to give an example of genre analysis. Consider analyzing the genre of online product review. A genre analysis would involve examining the structural elements, language patterns, and rhetorical strategies employed in this review. It will seek to understand how specific linguistic features are used to persuade or dissuade potential buyers and how this review conform to or challenge established norms within the context of e-commerce. Well, now I would like to explain about critical discourse analysis and framing. What is framing? Framing refers to the way information is presented by selecting certain aspects of reality and emphasizing specific perceptions related to a particular topic. In CDA, framing is one of the mechanisms used to understand how language is used to construct meaning and influence the perception of readers or listeners about an issue or event. By analyzing framing in the context of CDA, researchers can uncover how particular interests, values, and viewpoints are emphasized or sidelined in the presentation of information. As for framing, it can be categorized based on the specific context in which it is used, such as: first, media framing. It focuses on how media organizations select certain aspects of an issue and present them to the audience, shaping public perception. Second is policy framing. It involves the strategic presentation of policy issues to influence public opinion and shape policy outcomes. Third is advocacy framing. It emphasized the use of framing techniques in advocacy campaigns to influence public attitude and support for a particular cause. These different types framing analysis allow researchers to delve deeper into the complexities of language use and the construction of meaning within various social and cultural contexts. Here it is, an example of framing. Consider an environmental issue being presented in the news media. The framing of the issue might emphasize either the economic consequences of addressing the problem or the potential ecological impact. Depending on how the media presents the issue, the public's perception and response could be influenced, thereby shaping the direction of public discourse and potential policy decisions. Alright, I think that's all about my explanation. It will continue to Andika.
Hello everyone, my name is Andika Putra Pratama. Today I will continue the explanations about critical discourse analysis and multimodality. And also the second one, it's about critical discourse analysis and identity. Firstly, we will discuss about critical discourse analysis and multimodality. Here, multimodal discourse analysis considers how texts draw on models of communication such as pictures, film, video, image, and sound in combinations with words to make meaning. The multimodal use of discourse is much a feature of print genres as it is of television genres. The presentations of women in magazines, for example, relies not just on words on the page, but as much on their image that are used to accompany the words. These representations are not necessarily just local, and in the case of magazines, of with a worldwide network of distributions and publications are just a global. The magazine's Cosmopolitan in a case in point. Cosmopolitan is published in 44 different versions across the world in countries such as UK, Netherlands, Germany, Spain, Greece, etc. While there are local differences in these editions of image, there is also a global brand to the magazine and presentations of women in the magazine. Machin and Thornborough argue that print genres such as magazines are not just selling magazines to their readers, it also selling values of independence, power, and fun. Next, we'll continue to the example of multimodal discourse. First, the social relationship between an image and its viewer is strongly influenced by whether the subject in an image establish eye contact with their views of does not. Each of possibilities could be seen as an example of mood, where the eye contact could suggest a demand, whereas no eye contact might suggest an offer. And then second, the point of view or perspective of the image is also relevant. For example, a horizontal image suggests involvement as the viewer is on the same level as the subject of the image. A high angle shot might suggest superiority, and low angle shot may suggest respect. Like, she looks straight at the camera, establish eye contact with the reader. We can see the Time magazine's picture of Michelle Obama. Like what I said before, she looks straight at the camera, establish eye contact with the reader. Her face occupies the whole page, providing closeness. And the shoot is horizontal, suggesting the reader is on the same. Here you can see the image of the Michelle Obama. So let's continue to the next material. It's about discourse analysis and identity. The issue of how identity is constructed in the use of discourse is also an area of interest in critical discourse analysis. Gordon 2004, for example, said that how a family use language to create and socialize each other into a shared family identity. And then online communities is the other example. Online communities, where the social relations and identities are constructed through people's participations and interaction with each other. In Thomas' study of children's online interactions in virtual community called Appellees, she found children's talk and their technical ability helped to give them authority and a sense of belonging to the particular group. Here, the shared sense of belonging in online communities is also created by the use of screen names and emotions or emoticons, which express emotions such as laughing, smiling, amazement, excitement, and etc. And then here, Matsuda 2003 also found in his study of the online interactions of Japanese email language teachers group. In Japanese hierarchies, its relations are marked by the use of address form such as chan and san, and verbs ending such as desu and mosu. In order to know how to address someone in an online environment in Japanese, a person clearly needs to know something about the person, such as their age, gender, and social standing. So I think that's all for my part. The next part will be continued by Yara.
So the next part will be discussed by me. So critical discourse analysis and the World Wide Web. Much of the work in critical discourse analysis draws its discussions from the analysis of often only a few texts which have sometimes been criticized for being overly selective and lacking in objectivity. One way in which the scale of the texts used for critical analysis can be expanded is through the use of the texts that are available in the World Wide Web. Using material from the World Wide Web is not without its problem. However, it's not always possible to identify the sources of the text on the web. It is also not always possible to determine which texts have more authority in a topic than others on the web. It is also difficult to see sometimes who in fact is writing on the web. Text on the web furthers also often rely on more than just words to get their message across. Their multimodal natures those needs to be taken account in any analysis of materials from the web. Texts on the web are also more subject to change than many other pieces of writing. Each of these issues need to be considered when using data from the World Wide Web for a critical discourse study. The next part we are going to talk about criticisms of critical discourse analysis. So critical discourse analysis has not been without its critic. One argument against critical discourse analysis has been that it is very similar to earlier stylistic analysis that took place in the area of literary criticism. So, for example, one of the experts argues that a critical analysis should include discussion with the procedures and customers of texts, and not just rest of the analysis view of what the text might mean alone. Others have suggested that Critical discourse analysis does not always consider the roles of the reader in the co-assumptions and interpretations of a text, sometimes mistaking themselves for a members of the audience that the text is aimed at. And critical discourse analysis has also been critically criticized for not always providing sufficiently detailed and systematic analysis of the text that is examined. A further way in which critical discourse study could be enhanced is through a more detailed linguistic analysis of its text than sometimes occurs. Systematic functional linguistics has been proposed as a tool for one way in which this could be done. So, corpus approach have also been proposed as the way of increasing the quantitative dimension of critical discourse analysis. Others have proposed expanding critical discourse study by drawing on work such as Sema theory and work in the area of language and cognition.